Hi there guys, welcome to BoxPred and thank you for tuning in. So Jurgen Braehmer is putting his WBA World Light Heavyweight title on the line this weekend against Nathan Cleverly. Now the fight's happening in Germany, so that's going to be a home fight for Braehmer, the champion. Now many of you may know that this fight was meant to happen about 5 years ago. It was meant to be the first world title shot that Cleverly got, and the fight was going to happen here in London in the UK. There's actually a video of me giving a prediction on this fight 5 years ago, and I picked Nathan Cleverly by a decision. But that decision is going to be reversed here, in my opinion, and I'm picking Jurgen Braehmer to keep his title by a decision victory. So let's take a look at the fight. Let's look at Nathan Cleverly. Cleverly has never been a guy who has fought to his physical advantage. Okay, he's a tall, rangy guy who fights hunched over, so he gives up his height, and he fights on the inside, so he gives up his length and his reach. Basically, he fights in the opposites. If I was walking in and I saw Nathan Cleverly on the first day of his boxing career, he came to the gym and he said, "Right, I want to be a boxer." If I'm looking at him as a trainer, then I'm looking to develop him as, you know, I can see his attributes, see the way he looks. He may not be as grown as he is now, but his physique looks tall and rangy. So I'm going to say, right, you're going to be an outside fighter. You're going to use range, you're going to use distance, and you're going to pick shots. You're going to use a good jab. Okay, you can use footwork, and you're going to pick and choose your shots. You may be a counter puncher. You know, we're talking that side of the game. Okay. The last thing I would say is you're going to fight kind of like a Mike Tyson fight, where you're going to put pressure on guys and you're going to mix it up. You're going to get into wars. You know, just throw it all out the window. And that's how Cleverly fights, how he's always fought, and that's why he only got. Okay, he was a world champion, but against the very elite, that's why he's come up short. Okay. Look at Braehmer. He's had problems with the law throughout his career. That was, I believe, the reason why this fight never materialised in the first place, because Braehmer was always getting himself into trouble outside of the ring. He's had a successful career. He's had a typically padded German career, and I believe I can say that with confidence. You know, let's just tell it like it is. He's fought some decent guys, he's beaten some decent guys, but it's not been a who's who on his record. Okay. He's held this title now since 2013, I believe, and he's a good, solid fighter. Okay, he's a good, solid fighter, probably more technically sound than you would initially think on watching him. Here's the thing: what I think we're going to see in this fight is we're going to have the volume fighter in Cleverly. Okay, he's going to have a bit of a niggle on him because, you know, he's wanted Braehmer for years now. And you know Cleverly, once he gets hit, he's going to hit back. He's going to mix it up. He's not going to keep a cool head. He's just going to want to fight. He just wants a war. And it makes for an exciting fight for us fans, but it doesn't make for, it's not good for his health. So he's going to mix it up. He's going to want to put pressure on. He's going to want to use volume here. He knows he's in Germany. He knows he has to rip the title from Braehmer. So he's going to be throwing plenty of punches. The thing is with Braehmer, he's going to be the guy who is going to be throwing the cleaner, more accurate shots, most likely. Okay, he might start off where he might try and employ a jab. He might try and keep things cool, but you know, ultimately he's going to be looking to pick off Cleverly with accurate shots, which is what he's capable of doing. He throws good straight shots, Braehmer. Cleverly's going to be open for them. Cleverly tends to get quite close and start throwing wide punches. Braehmer might catch him coming in with some straight shots with a good jab. When they're on the inside, I think both of these guys are probably, would say, decent on the inside, but I think Braehmer's probably got the edge in terms of technical fighting on the inside. He's good at turning the opponent. He's good at sort of leaning and basically spoiling things, spoiling the work of Cleverly. So when Cleverly gets too close, he might wrap him up. He might clinch. He'll be pulling all the tricks out the bag. You know, this guy's 37, going on 38. Okay, so he's experienced. He's an experienced boxer who knows all the tricks in the book. He's going to pull them out against Cleverly. He's going to smother Cleverly's work at times. He's going to stop Cleverly getting volume off at times. Cleverly is going to be aggressive, and yes, he might have some success. And the real chance he has in this fight, and something that, well, is perfectly, capable of happening, is that he's going to win by volume. He's going to throw a lot of volume. If he's on top form, Cleverly, yeah, and he gets success early on, then he might start to try and showboat. He might try and back off a little bit and try and start using a bit of a jab. He might start trying to get a bit of range in the fight where he can actually just showboat a bit and try and show some flashy combinations. That's if he's on his top of his game and Braehmer is suddenly not as good as his last fight, okay, against Gutknecht. So that's what I feel Cleverly needs to happen. But he definitely needs to be on top of his game. Because the way I see it going is that Cleverly will start off, he'll be aggressive, his usual self, and Braehmer will start picking him off with some telling shots. Now, if you look at Cleverly's face in his last fight against Fonfara, it was a bit of a mess. Okay, he was cut. He can get beaten up to the face. And I think later in this fight, there's a possibility that Cleverly is cut pretty badly. And he's bleeding pretty badly, and there's a potential the fight could get stopped. But I'm going to go with the fact I think that, let's say that doesn't happen. Let's say that Cleverly, even if he gets cut, it's not that bad and he manages to go on. But I think ultimately, being in Germany aside, I think that Braehmer takes it on points because I think he's going to have the cleaner punches. He has more power, I believe, than Cleverly. I think that here's the problem for Cleverly as well with the way he fights. He's always lacked power. His power has been more of an attritional type power where he can try and wear you down and he can try and go to the body and wear you down. That's his type of power. Whereas Braehmer, for me, has the power to hurt Cleverly with punches from the off. I think he can stun Cleverly with some stinging punches. He's got good straight shots. He did it against Gutknecht. He was able to land some jarring punches. And I think that's what he'll be looking to do against Cleverly. Now, the plan for Cleverly in this one, if I'm taking him on as a fighter and I'm saying, okay, this is the way you are, I'm not going to change you now. This is what we're going to do. I want you to keep a high guard. I want you to be mindful of counter punches coming from Braehmer. I want you to block against the straight shots in particular. And what I want you to do is when you get up close, I want you to pick and choose your body punches. I want you to rip them into Braehmer. And I really want you just to really focus on the body. If an opportunity comes where he starts lowering his hands and you can get shots off to the head, then okay, fair enough. Go for headshots. But predominantly our work is going to be to the body. We're going to try and slow him down. He's an old guy now. In boxing terms, and we're going to try and slow him down as the fight goes on, and then later on when he starts to tire, then we can try and start turning up the heat. We can use our stamina to try and really start throwing some straight shots and start taking the fight over, okay? And also, before you jump in aggressively to begin with, let's just sit back and try and employ some sort of a jab, and let's not get too square early on, okay? Let's just feel this guy out, see what he has to offer, and then we'll go in and we'll decide, right, after a couple of rounds we'll say, right, this is where the openings lay. This is how he's fighting. This is what he's capable of at this point in his career. Let's use some. Then let's go in for the body punches. Let's figure out where we go from there. I just don't see that happening with Cleverly. I don't even know who's training Cleverly. There was a point where Cleverly was training himself. This is as much. His father trained him originally. That never worked. It very rarely ever works. The only time I've known that really to work was with Joe Calzaghe. And I don't, it just didn't work for Cleverly. Sometimes you need an objective perspective. You need someone who is close to you, but not that close that they don't recognise your flaws and they don't recognise where you need to change things up. And I just think that's what's going to happen. I think early on, competitive perhaps, but then as the fight progresses, Braehmer's going to use his technique, he's going to use his inside ability, he's going to use his straight punches, he's going to use his power, his superior power in the fight to just win the fight on points. And I think in Germany, it's just the way it's going to go. It might sound like I'm being too critical of Cleverly, but as far as I'm concerned, he's from my neck of the woods. I have no reason to be particularly hostile towards the guy or his career, but when you watch someone with a stark contrast in style compared to what you feel they should have fought like, then I'm just trying to highlight why he's not been as successful as he perhaps could have been. And yes, he was a world champion. He's done very well, and he can definitely win this fight at the weekend. But it's going to be a case of work rates. It's going to be a case of effort rather than skill. Okay, and I think really, if he was an outside fighter using the jab and range in this fight, then I'd have no problem picking him, because Braehmer is not a quick fighter. He's quite cumbersome. Okay, he hasn't got a high work rate, but Cleverly just plays into his hands. His style plays into Braehmer's hands. Okay, Braehmer's going to lose against a guy who, a half decent boxer from the outside, who has a bit of a punch on him. Braehmer will lose to them, as far as I'm concerned. If they're world class and they're world level and they're boxing outside, they can have a bit of a punch. I think that he's very beatable champion, Braehmer. The problem is Cleverly's style plays into his hands. He's going to be close. He's going to be there in front of Braehmer. He's not going anywhere. He's not employing, anything special. And Braehmer's just going to use what he always uses, which is the spoiling tactics, the inside fighting, a decent level of punches, his technical nous over the years he's built up. And I just think he's going to take it on points. And I think it's just going to be a bit of a disappointment when Cleverly comes out the ring and he's not world champion again. But I know there will be those of you who disagree. If you disagree, tell me why. Why you think Cleverly's going to do it on the weekend. I may be wrong. As always, no one has a crystal ball, and we're just giving our opinions on what we think will happen. Please, guys, let me know, in particular, if you think Cleverly's going to win the fight. How do you think he's going to win this? I'm guessing you're going to say it's going to be through work rate, it's going to be through Braehmer's age and his lack of mobility, his lack of work rate, because he doesn't throw a lot. He doesn't seem to do that much in the ring, but, Bernard Hopkins built a career on it. There's technical subtleties you can use to win fights, especially on your home turf. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for staying with me in this vid. If you like, do look at my original thoughts from 5 years ago. If you type in Braehmer Cleverly BoxPred into the search bar, it should come up as one of the first videos, and then you can contrast it with what I'm saying right now. Okay, thanks, guys. This is BoxPred. I'm out.